Before starting today's class, I want to present you this beautiful flower. Can you tell me and can you guess the picture you are watching on your screen is of what? Of course it's a flower, but the name of the flower I am asking about. No. So this is daffodil. This flower is known as daffodil. Very beautiful flower it is. So today we shall read the poem Daffodils, which is written by Wordsworth. Okay. So you can see different pictures of daffodils. Lot of colors are there, but basically generally they are found in only two colors, yellow and white. How beautiful flower it is, and it is having a beautiful fragrance also. So as I told you, the flower in the pictures are called daffodils, and they are golden yellow in color, sometimes of white color also. It is the miniature form of sunflower, you can say, and the color is like that of our oleander. They grow in the wild areas in the spring, okay, and because everyone likes the flowers very much. So one day while walking about a riverside, the poet saw a large number of daffodils shaking their heads in the wind. They spread out in a long row along the border of a lake, and the daffodils looked very happy. So the poet was very impressed to see these daffodils, and later in his vacant or pensive mood, he remembers the scene and felt very happy, and he wrote this poem Daffodils. Okay. So when we talk about this poem Daffodils, the poem was earlier written in with the title I Wandered Lonely in the Sky. Okay, I Wandered Lonely in the Sky. That was the first title of the poem. Clear? So as we are going to start Daffodils today, which is poem number 2 of our textbook VIII English, right? And the poet is who? William Wordsworth. So he was a romantic poet, and he wrote this poem, as I told you, with the title I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. So because if the poet is not getting any suitable title, so the first line of the poem itself becomes the title of the poem, right? When we talk about it was written in 1804, and as I told you, when he was roaming with his sister nearby lake area. So let's know about that. When he was on the stroll, on the walk, we can say, with his sister Dorothy, whose name is Dorothy, William Wordsworth's sister, across a long belt of daffodils, right? So that came, he just got the sight of daffodils, and then he wrote this poem. So if we will talk about the theme of the poem, it is all about the beauty of nature. You can see how beautiful the flower is, right? So it is increasing, it is enhancing the beauty of nature. So Wordsworth is often termed as a nature lover, and the romantic movement that he started with the Samuel Taylor is mainly characterized by love and celebration of nature and beauty, right? So we will start the poem, and let's see what the poem is about. So this is the page of your book where you will read the poem Daffodils. It is written by William Wordsworth. when we talk about the structure of the poem Daffodils, right, it is very simple. It is written in very simple language, and this is having 4 stanzas, and each stanza is having 6 lines, right, and so total lines in the poem 24, right, 6 4s are 24. So 4 stanzas, 6 lines. And when we talk about the rhyming scheme of each stanza is A, B, A, B, C, C. So let's check this rhyming scheme first, that how it is A, B, B, A, B, A, B, C, C, right. So let's talk about this. See, first word is cloud, right. What is it? Cloud. Second is what? Hills. So there is no matching of cloud and hills. So we have given here what? A to cloud and B to hills, right. Now the third line and the last word of crowd is third word is crowd, which is the rhyming word of cloud. See, cloud and crowd. So once again we in this third line we will write down A. Clear? In fourth line, the last word is daffodils. What is it? Daffodils, and this is having a rhyming scheme, rhyming matching with what? B, hills. Okay, so we will give it B once again. Next is trees and breeze. Okay, it is not necessary every time that the spelling should end with the same letters, the same sound we are talking about. Okay, trees and breeze. So trees and breeze are not matching with cloud, not matching with hills, not okay. So this is not having AB. So this is the different one. So we will give it C. So what is the rhyming scheme of the stanza? It is A, B, C, C, right? So what we have noticed that the first and the second lines, first line is having A, second line is having B with the third, right. So first is matching with third and second is matching with fourth, right, and this is followed by a rhyming couplet. Couplet is what? A set of same rhyme, that is what? CC. So this is followed by CC, right. And in this poem you will also see some of the figures of speech or the poetic devices. So I'll advise you to read the poem line by line first. Okay, so let's talk about the poem and let's read the poem. So the name of the poem is Daffodils, and when we talk about the poet of the poem, who is that? William Wordsworth, right. This is very important question for examination, that the name of the poem and the name of the poet. So name of the poem is Daffodils and name of the poet is William Wordsworth. So let's read the poem line by line. First stanza says, I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not be but gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. So dear kids, this was a very beautiful poem written by William Wordsworth. Now we will see line by line explanation of the poem. So let's talk about stanza number 1 here. So in first 2 lines, what the poet is saying, that I wandered lonely as cloud. Wandered means what? Wandered means moving here and there. okay, walking here and there aimlessly. Aimlessly means जब वैसे ही free time में कोई इधर उधर घूमता है, so that is known as aimlessly wandering, right? So the poet was also saying that I wandered lonely as a cloud. Clear? So he said that when he was traveling aimlessly, just like a cloud over the hills and the valleys. So over, this word is here, what it is written? It is over. What is it? It is over. Clear? So OER it is written, but this word actually is what? Over, right? So he is saying that when he was moving aimlessly, just like cloud over the hills and the vales. Vales means what? Vales means valley, right? Of the mountainous lake, and here he is talking about a lake which is in one of the district of England, okay, because he is an English poet. So that's why he was just talking about here one lake in England here, right? So what he saw, when all at once I saw a crowd. When all at once I saw a crowd. So he saw when I was roaming aimlessly, I just gazed, I just looked, I suddenly came across a large number of golden daffodils. Means what was the color of the daffodils? Golden. The color of the daffodils was golden, means these were of yellow color. Beside the lake, beneath the trees. Now he is answering where he saw these daffodils. So he told us that he saw these daffodils beside the lake, okay, beside the lake and under the trees. Means जो lake थी उसके किनारों पे ये लगे हुए थे, और under the trees अभी there were daffodils. Means the complete area was filled with beautiful daffodils, right? Fluttering and dancing in the breeze. So what were these flowers doing? They were fluttering. What they were doing? They were fluttering and dancing in the breeze. So what does the word means fluttering here? That means to bend to move the face here of the flower or the head up and down, right? So this was written in the first stanza. So here kids, we have noticed in the first stanza the poet is directly comparing himself to a cloud. He is saying that I wandered lonely as a cloud, means he was like a cloud, right? So he is comparing himself as what? As a cloud. So when someone compare, when the comparison, direct comparison is being done by using words as or like, that is known as a very important figure of speech, or you can say poetic device, and the name of that poetic device is simile. It is SIMLIE. What is it? Simile, right? When we compare two things using words as and like. So here what I with cloud. So these two things are being compared here. So here poet is using which poetic device? Simile. This is very important point, okay. Now one more poetic device here you will see, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. So in these two last lines, okay, one more poetic device is being used, right, in the last line, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. So what he is saying here, that the flowers were fluttering and dancing in the breeze. It means what? Now fluttering and dancing. Dancing is the quality of whom? Dancing is the quality of persons, right? So it is what? That the flowers were fluttering like birds and butterflies, he is saying, and dancing like human beings, okay. So this is also an indication that it was a breezy day. But when he is comparing, when he is doing this, when he is giving this quality of human being, right, and any living creature, like birds, they flutter, right? And butterflies also, they flutter, okay? But human beings what? Dance. So this quality of the persons is given to what? Flowers here, right? So this is called what? This is called personification. Personification. So this is one more poetic device used here in this stanza. Now let's read second stanza. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. So in these first two lines, once again the poet is using one another simile. That is what? Continuous as the stars that shine. So means he is saying कि जो daffodils हैं वो किसकी तरह shining कर रहे हैं? Stars की तरह. तो यहाँ comparison किन किन दोनों चीज़ों का हुआ? Shine stars का और daffodils का. Right? So when the two things are being compared by using words as and like, that is known as simile. So जो second stanza है और उसकी first line है, that is there the poetic device used is simile once again, right? Now, and twinkle on the Milky Way. The flowers, they are shining like stars and they twinkle on the Milky Way. They stretched in never ending line, means they stretched in a continuous line, just like the stars in the galaxy of the Milky Way, right? So moreover, the daffodils were shining because they were golden in color and they were twinkling, they were fluttering, they were shining in the breeze as stars. So this comparison with the stars may have a greater implication in indicating that the flowers are as the flowers are as the stars here. So this is the proof of simile here. So what is saying? That the flowers are shining like the stars. So the flowers were visible. Now they stretch in never ending line, means like a Milky Way they are stretching. A long margin of way, 10,000 I saw a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. So sprightly means what? Sprightly is energetic and vigorous, you may say. So what is saying by using this continuous word here, that never ending, right? Never ending line is there. And here one more thing I want to tell here, that Wordsworth is exaggerating the number of the flowers. Exaggerate means what? To increase. ओके व्हेन वी किसी चीज़ को हम जब बढ़ा चढ़ा के बोलते हैं, जब किसी चीज़ को बहुत ज़्यादा खींच लेते हैं, बढ़ा चढ़ा के बोलते हैं, सो दैट इज़ नोन एज exaggeration, right? And this type of poetic device is known as hyperbole. What is this known as? Hyperbole. Okay, because he is saying, see, 10,000 saw I at glance. So here he is exaggerating the number कि मैंने एक बार में मुझे लगा कि मैंने 10,000 फ्लावर्स को एक साथ में ही देख लिया. So यहाँ पे उसने चीज़ों को exaggerate किया है, ठीक है? So 10,000 saw I at a glance. That indicates that poet has never seen so many daffodils at once. So he is just overjoyed. He is very much happy to see this sight of what? Daffodils. So once again he is using in the second line, in the second last line, the poetic device, that is hyperbole. Hyper means what? Hyper means किसी चीज़ को बढ़ाना, ठीक है? हाइपर मीन्स किसी चीज़ को इंक्रीज करना, और जब हम किसी चीज़ को बढ़ा चढ़ा के बोलते हैं, सो दैट इज़ व्हाट? हाइपरबली. हाइपरबली. सो दिस इज़ अ पोएटिक डिवाइस. अब उसने यहाँ कहा कि 10,000 फ्लावर्स मैंने देखे हैं एक ही बार में, तो यहाँ उसने नंबर को क्या किया? उसने जो फ्लावर्स हैं उस नंबर को बढ़ा दिया. ज़रूरी थोड़े कि वहाँ पे 10,000 फ्लावर्स हो सकते हैं, तो 10,000 वॉज अ बिग नंबर फॉर हिम दैट टाइम. सो दैट्स वाई ही टोल्ड हियर. सो व्हाट इज़ दिस? Which poetic device is being used here in this line? It is hyperbole. Okay, so please note it in your book. Now we have read here that the poet is saying that the flowers are tossing their heads, right? They were dancing in happiness. Okay, so actually why he says this, because he is very much amazed at the beauty of the flowers. So he found everything around him joyous. So all these references of dancing and tossing heads are the part of his personification of the flowers. This I have told you here. Now this personification, where we have noted this personification here in the first line, and in the second last line we have seen hyperbole. So when we talk about stanza number 3 of this poem, stanza number 3, what does it say? The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not be but gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. Here the word jocund means very cheerful and light-hearted. What does it mean? Very cheerful and light-hearted, right? So here in this stanza, the poet is saying the waves in the bay were dancing and looking gleefully. Gleefully means happily at the atmosphere, but the flowers outshone the lively waves in their happiness. Okay, so having such a cheerful companion like the daffodils, a poet like Wordsworth cannot help being happy. He is telling us that's why he is very happy. Okay, when he is in the company of these two beautiful things. What are the things? That the waves in the way, वेव्स इन द वे मीन्स जिस लेक के आसपास वो चल रहा है तो वहाँ पे वेव्स भी हैं, पानी की वेव्स भी हैं, वो भी एक बहुत ब्यूटीफुल सीन है. और दूसरा उसमें एक एडिशन ये है कि जो फ्लावर्स हैं वो भी क्या कर रहे हैं, फ्लटरिंग कर रहे हैं. सो दैट आउट शोन द लाइवली वेव्स इन देयर हैप्पीनेस. सो दिस इज एडिंग एक्स्ट्रा ब्यूटी to the beauty of daffodils. So having such cheerful sight of daffodils, he is very happy. So he was gazing constantly. A poet could not be but gay in such a jocund company. So what he is saying, so he was gazing constantly at the flowers and enjoying the beauty. Right, and the word gazed here, I gazed and gazed. Gazed means what? To see, and he is using here this gazed and gazed twice. See, gazed and gazed. So this word gaze is used twice here to indicate how moved or charmed the poet was. He is very much happy. That's why he is using two words here. So when this type of repetition is being done in one line, see this word gazed and gazed. Okay, so this poetic device is known as repetition. It is REPETITION. When same word is being repeated, okay, it may be 2 times, it may be 3 times, it may be 4 times. This is known as repetition, and this is the fourth type of poetic device which you have done. First we have read simile, where the comparison between two things, direct comparison is done by using words as and like, right. Second we have done personification. Personification in when the human qualities are given to the non-living things. Okay, so we have read that flowers fluttering and dancing. So fluttering and dancing, that is what, क्योंकि डांस करना क्वालिटी किसकी होती है, ह्यूमन की. तो जब हम ह्यूमन क्वालिटी को किसी नॉन लिविंग थिंग को दे देते हैं, राइट, या इन एनिमेटेड ऑब्जेक्ट्स को दे देते हैं, सो दिस इज कॉल्ड पर्सोनिफिकेशन. थर्ड हमने पढ़ा है पोएटिक डिवाइस हाइपरबोले. व्हेन ही टोल्ड दिस लाइन 10,000 आई सा एट ए ग्लांस, मीन्स एक ही बार में उसने 10,000 फूलों को देख लिया. सो नंबर जितना बड़ा उसके सामने उस वक्त आया, तो ही हैज़ यूज्ड दैट, राइट. सो दैट्स व्हाई ही इज सेइंग हियर 10,000 टाइम, मीन्स उसने चीज़ों को क्या कर दिया, एग्जैजरेट कर दिया. एग्जैजरेट मीन्स टू इंक्रीज, बढ़ा दिया. ठीक है. सो दिस टाइप वॉज नोन एज थर्ड वन, दैट इज हाइपरबोले. एंड द लास्ट फोर्थ वी हैव डन हियर इज repetition. When two words or more than two, when a word is being used or repeated more than 2 times, so that is known as repetition. What wealth the show to me had brought. So here he is saying that because they were giving them charm, so that's why he was watching them, right? At the time, he did not think much about the wealth. Wealth is what? What is wealth? Paisa, dhan daulat, richness, right? So at that time, he did not think much about the wealth that the flowers had brought to him. But he realized that it is here, wealth यहाँ पे क्या दे रहा है? बहुत खुशी उसको दे रही है. It is not money, okay? So the poet realized that later, maybe after a few days, this wealth means the beauty of the daffodils which he is carrying, right, with him. So the wealth is the happiness and the pleasant memory that he enjoyed for a long time since the day. Okay, so that's why he is saying is beauty ko usne wealth kaha hai, right? Last stanza of the poem. For oft when on my couch I lie in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon the inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude, and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. So here one word is what very important, that is what? Pensive. Pensive means engaged in serious thoughts, right? जिसको हम कभी भूल नहीं सकते हैं, right? So in the vacant or in pensive mood means when he is busy in something, clear? So by starting this stanza with for, this is very important, for the poet continues his reasoning for saying that the flowers had brought him wealth. Okay, he is continuing the third stanza here too by using the word for here, and the wealth he got by the sight of flowers, right? So he is clarifying here that how important this sight was for his life, right? And he is saying in the vacant when on my couch is what? It's a bed type of sofa type of something. So when on my couch I lie. So what he is saying here, that whenever he lies on his bed in the vacant or the thoughtful mood or in the pensive mood, okay, so the daffodils flash upon his inner eye. The daffodils flash upon his inner eye. तो उस वक्त क्या होता है? They flash. they कौन है यहाँ? daffodils. वो एकदम से उनके, जैसे ही मैं बैठा होता हूँ कुछ सोचने के लिए, तो एकदम से उसकी जो सीन था, वो ब्यूटी थी, वो मेरी आंखों के सामने आ जाती है. किसकी ब्यूटी के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं? daffodils की, right? So the daffodils flash upon his inner eye. Inner eye means what? That is the imagination. So he is visualizing that beauty because that is unforgettable, right? So the daffodils have become an everlasting memory, you may say, for the poet. Whenever he is lonely, so he calls it's a bliss, which is the bliss of the solitude. So that's why he is calling it the bliss of solitude, means a blessing of staying alone. Solitude means अकेलापन, alone, right? Loneliness. So he is saying कि जब भी मैं अकेला बैठा होता हूँ और pensive mode में होता हूँ, तो उस टाइम में वही memory जो everlasting memory है daffodils की मेरी आँखों के सामने आ जाती है, और वही visualization, मुझे यही लगता है कि मैं वही daffodils के आसपास ही घूम रहा हूँ, right? And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. And whenever he sees the flowers in his imagination, in these two last lines he is saying, and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with daffodils. कि जब भी मैं उन flowers को देखता हूँ, and whenever he sees the flowers in his imagination, his heart fills with the pleasure and the mind dances with the dancing daffodils, and dances with the daffodils. So what he is saying in these two lines, that whenever he sees the flowers in his imagination, his heart fills with pleasure and his mind dances with the dancing daffodils. So what does this show? This show the poet's intense feelings, and the poet has been able to depict the landscape and express his mind so vividly in so simple language and form that really draws one's attention. अब हम जब इस पोएम को पढ़ रहे हैं तो हमारे सामने भी हमने देखा नहीं है ब्यूटीफुल इन डैफोडिल्स को, ठीक है, डैफोडिल्स की नंबर ऑफ लाइन्स को, लेकिन फिर भी पढ़ते ही पढ़ते हमने उस सीन को विजुअलाइज कर लिया है, लेकिन विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ ने तो देखा था, तो इसलिए वो ब्यूटी जो है उनके सामने बार बार आ जाती है. सो दैट्स व्हाई ही इज सेइंग that really draws one's attention. This beauty is very attractive, or you can say that is very attractive, or that is very tempting, and that is why this poem has been one of the most read and mentioned poem in the history of English literature. I hope you got this poem, and whatever the stanza wise explanation we have done, and the poetic devices we have studied in this poem, I hope you understood. Thank you very much for listening, and I advise you to note down the stanza wise explanation in your notebook, right, with the poetic devices, so that it will be helpful for your future, for your examination. Thank you very much. Once again I am saying the poem is very beautiful. Thanks a lot.